Yeah, it's something the Lord's been leading me into the last several months is revealing and unveiling the whole thing about the last four horsemen apocalypse. And it's almost something at the same time while I was teaching everybody else, I was learning at the same time, because it was when I was giving those shows, and I was mentioning a little bit every week about the different horses, the red horse and the black horse. He revealed to me the pale horse. I knew the pale horse was associated. I never put two and two together that the pale horse was actually the first alien invasion on Earth, because it says death and hell ride with them, and that's really the first alien invasion on Earth is with the pale horse.
Right.
And so it's really fascinating, just learning who these horses are, because the church reads about the four horsemen apocalypse and they think it's just symbolic events. These are literal people, because they're riders on the horses. They aren't just horses riding around. These are riders, and so they signify a real person takes each position. You actually have the white horseman, the black, the red, and the pale.
Right, and if I'm right in remembering, if I remember correctly, is it George Bush Jr. is the red horseman that brings war in the Middle East? His
imaginary war on terror that will never end.
Right.
If he is the terror, get rid of him and all of the scum that work with him, and he'd get rid of that one, but it's not going to happen. He may be getting rid of him, but not the backing he has, not the Illuminati and the secret societies that are backing him. They're all serpent seed children. And so, yeah, you've got the red horse, this imaginary war on terror. Maitreya is the rider of the black horse, and when he arrives, there will be a famine. He brings famine with him. That's what the black horse is. The black horse is famine. And so I keep telling people...
Sorry, do you think that's down to the fact that countries won't be importing and exporting food anymore because of the war?
Well, what's happening, I don't know what's going on your neck of the woods, but they're shutting down farms. People are they're buying farmers out. Farmers are selling their land. There's going to be an induced famine here in America. And so if it's a forced famine, it's caused. It's not a natural famine, it's caused. And so it's going to affect the rest of the world, because America feeds half of the world. We're not even going to be able to feed our own people here, let alone half the other world. It's going to be a caused famine. It's forced. People don't realize that the 6 seals are man-created. Satan's wrath on mankind is the 6 seals. The Lord's judgment is with the bowls, trumpets, and the thunders that aren't mentioned in Revelation chapter 10. His judgments are after Satan arrives on earth, begins his ministry here. But the 6 seals are Satan's wrath. And so you have the four horsemen, the red horseman, Satan's man, causing the wars around the world. Then you have the famine. And then you have Sananda's arrival, this Jesus Christ, this general of Satan's coming to earth. Oh, I'm the Son of God. Look at all my angels with me. And he brings death and hell with him. And this is actually an alien invasion on earth.
Right. So, could George Bush, for instance, be the last days mirror of Nimrod?
Actually, Nimrod he's not a clone, no.
It's just
you mean as in...
Well, the Nimrod had a son, and the son became the Satan incarnate and the most evil creature on the planet.
Right, I did a whole thing on Nimrod. He is serpent seed, but the reason he's in position how he is because of his father. George Bush Sr. is a very high-ranking Satanist, probably the highest ranking in America. One of the highest ranking.
Aren't they related to the English royal family?
Oh, they're all related. The royal family, Hitler, they're all serpent seed. They're all interrelated.
Yeah. Right, so we don't really know then who the last days effectively the Nimrod is going to be, do we? Or Satan incarnate in the flesh. Do we know that yet?
If it comes in the flesh, there's several people. If it goes that route, I believe it will just be Maitreya will serve the role of the Antichrist because he's Cain's clone. Some people believe it'll be a human. Bush could be a candidate for that. Hillary Clinton's a candidate for that. Prince Harry, Prince William. There's several different candidates because they've all been incarnated by Satan. You can see incarnation by Satan with several of these people's names in the Bible codes.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Prince William, because after watching David Icke's interview with Arizona Wilder, she stated that she believes the reason why Prince William and Prince Harry are so different in appearance is because Harry is the real son between Diana and Charles, but Prince William, she said, is more likely the seed of Pindar.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, so was Charles.
Yeah, which is why William looks like Charles and Harry doesn't.
Yeah, well, Harry's stronger in the codes than William is.
Ah.
He's a lot stronger in the codes. And so I always wondered, because there was always a contingency plan of the Europe being drowned by that comet that would hit the Atlantic. And that's why years ago, back in the 90s, the Queen had bought thousands of acres of land in Colorado, so she would have some place to escape to, and they built that huge airport, that city underneath the airport, Denver Airport.
Are you advising all the English people to learn how to swim and get a boat?
and so all the English people would be drowning, and the Queen would be sitting above over here in America. But I don't think she makes it. I think the only one that would be a sole survivor, and that would be Harry, and that's if that would come about. Because they've been watching for a comet to hit the Atlantic for years now. They don't know when it's going to hit. But they've been watching for it. And when it does hit, it would take out Europe and the East Coast of the United States.
Well, I've been thinking about a flood of the UK, and I think I'm going to be very, very close to an RLNI station, which is the Royal National Lifeboat Association, because they're the only people that have boats that can't be capsized and turned over, and they'll always float.
Life jacket. Walk around with a life jacket on all the time, because you never know when you're going under. I have dreams all the time. I have spiritual visions of water just overtaking areas, and it's something I can't shake. I have it all the time. And the Lord has shown me the map of the world towards the end of the days, and it's just something that stays with me all the time. Just so much destruction by water in these last days.
Is there any area of the globe, or particularly America, that stands out as being still dry in that kind of time?
The center of the United States, probably the center of countries, because the coastlines are going to be history. Right.
So basically, the UK disappears underwater.
Basically, yeah. Because you've also got a pole shift coming, which would affect Scotland and the northern parts of Europe. I'm pretty geographically illiterate, so just bear with me here.
I mean, the highest mountain in the UK, I think, is only something like a couple of thousand elevation.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a pole shift that would take the northern parts of the country, the Netherlands and all that there, Sweden and all that. And then you've got, you're right on the Atlantic right there. You guys would be gone, and so would the East Coast of the United States.
Right. Getting back to the royal family for a second, have you heard anything? I heard a rumour that when the Queen Mother died, she had to be buried in something like a 9-foot-long coffin and carried.
She was a reptilian, and the thing that possessed her was, he was about 9 foot tall. And then she'd sit in that wheelchair, and I don't know how it did that, but there's no space limitations in their realm. They can come in and out of human bodies, no matter how tall or short they are.
So when they die, do you think they revert back to their original form without the illusion surrounding them?
I don't know. It's the first time I've heard of that. It doesn't shock me too much. But I knew she was possessed by one. I'd read that a long time ago about her.
Of course, Arizona Wilder says she was one of the most evil of them all.
I haven't even seen that yet. I know people have sent me that interview she did, and I haven't sat down and watched it yet. I'm going to do that this week.
I fully recommend that to any listener or anybody. But
that would be absolutely wild to see, because it's the same thing I've heard from different sources. And so when you have different sources, all of a sudden everyone's saying the same thing, then it gets interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's some horror stories about the British royal family, that's for sure.
Well, Diana didn't fit in because Diana was legitimate blood.
That's
she
right.
wasn't Moravian bloodline. You've got the Moravian blood.